friends, welcome back to another MultiVersus video. I found a build for Morty that's not only unorthodox, but it's getting me great results like games right here. And this isn't even a standalone game, like this is happening regularly. So that's gonna be today's video. I'm gonna show you guys two different builds, one for entry-level Morty players that are just picking the character up, and one for players that are pretty comfortable with his moveset. But before we get into it, subscribe, we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and we upload every single day. So let's kick this off with our signature perk. Now I know, everybody loves the hammer. The hammer is phenomenal, the hammer is great. It dishes out amazing damage, it has good knockback and kill potential, covers a huge amount of range, but you are one good read away from getting nailed. Not to mention the fact that sometimes people fall out of the hammer combo, or in certain situations they can literally just dodge out of it. So for this build, we're not going to be using the hammer, instead we're going to be using, oh, that's still a grenade! The explosion radius of Morty's grenade is increased based on their cook duration. Grenades thrown by Morty's allies always have maximum explosion radius. Now you might read that and on paper you might be like, wow, that sucks. I'm not waiting for that timer to go all the way down, that's ridiculous. That takes forever, and I can't plan when the opponent's gonna be close to it in order to actually utilize it. But that's not how we're gonna be using this. You see, when we summon our inner Toph and use our earth bending, we can actually break the grenade into two. And these two bad boys right here, they have pretty much no timer at all. They're gonna explode almost instantaneously. Edge guarding, not a problem. Zoning in 1v1s, not a problem. Catching somebody when they're trying to land back on stage, not a problem. Wanna cover a large amount of area to make sure you hit both people in duos? Not a problem. Wanna kill with it? Not a problem. This thing can do it all, and it's really limited to how comfortable you get doing this. Now keep in mind, you're not going to want to earth bend all the time. Sometimes you want to leave the grenades there. That's perfectly fine. You got to know when and how to use your powers. And when these two guys explode, they're both going to have the maximum explosion radius of a singular grenade. Look at how much more ground this covers. And if you know Morty, you know a lot of his attacks leave grenades behind. You got the teleport that leaves a grenade, you got the ally that leaves a grenade, you got yourself that's always leaving grenades. Which about that? Your ally. You can give him grenades. Just by overlapping with your ally, Morty will pass a grenade on over to them. Now this grenade right here from your ally, you don't actually have to break it into two. That one, feel free to shoot. The reason we're breaking the grenades into two is not only to cover more area, but also to shorten the timer. But because your ally already has a maximum explosion radius on their grenade, you can just shoot it. That works perfectly fine. So that's the game plan, that's the strategy, that's how we're gonna be using this build. So what about the other three perks? Let's start with a build that's easier for new Morty players. I like Make It Rain Dog as our first slot. This is going to make sure that your grenades get to where they're going as easily as possible and you don't have to sit there charging their grenade up, as the increased projectile speed from Make It Rain Dog allows Morty to throw farther with less charge. The second perk here is gonna be CoffeeZilla, because Morty has an ungodly amount of cooldowns, and any reduction is definitely helpful. But the third perk is going to be Triple Jump. A great utility perk you can't really go wrong with slapping it on any build. What this does for anybody who's new to the game, your team, as well as yourself, receives an extra jump after hitting an opponent in air. Now Morty's got crazy off-map potential, so you'll definitely get use out of this, especially when you pair it with how many recovery options he has. When you're still getting used to Morty's controls, this is definitely going to help you out. But let's say you're more experienced with Morty, what kind of build would you run with there? Well, with this you have a little bit more versatility. But the first perk I really like is Tasmanian Trigonometry. This perk right here allows you and your teammate to have 15% increased base knockback influence, keeping Morty alive just a little bit. I feel like using these three perks in order to compensate for Morty's weaknesses is a great way to go, and Tasmanian Trigonometry definitely does that. Now Make It Rain Dog on our initial build was just to make your life a little bit easier. That way you don't have to really worry about getting your projectiles where you want them to be. But if you're feeling a little bit more comfortable with Morty, then you're not really going to need this perk. Not only is Morty's normal projectile speed perfectly fine, but if you really wanted to increase the projectile speed, you can always use Morty's portal more aggressively, leaving it around the map. This portal will take any projectile that's shot through it and increase its speed on its own, very similarly to Make It Rain Dog. We're gonna keep CoffeeZilla in slot 2, just because once again I truly believe that any reduction is great on Morty. But for the third perk, you can really replace Triple Jump with pretty much anything that you feel most comfortable with. For me personally, I like Gravity Manipulation. It gives me a 10% increased fast fall speed, which allows me to move around the map a lot faster. But you might want something a little bit more aggressive, something like Percussive Punch Power. And this is gonna give you 5% increased damage with attacks that knock opponents back horizontally. So the axe attack that a lot of us are approaching with, that'll go ahead and help this out. I see a lot of Morty players using Deadshot for a 5% increased damage with projectiles, but I personally also really like Toon Elasticity, where your team gets a 20% reduction to ground and wall bounce velocity. Even on maps that don't necessarily have walls, even maps that are just one singular platform, you usually get bounced off the ground quite a bit. So this can definitely come in handy. But that's pretty much the build. This thing has a lot of utility, covers a lot of ground, and really puts the pressure on the opponent. Let me know your guys' Morty builds in the comments down below, because we all learn better together. So drop that down there and feel free to go ahead and stick around for a while. Subscribe. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers, and it's only possible with your guys' help. But dudes, have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.